Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Pichana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brachachana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brachachana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajacharya Sutra Satashamadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kuti Vaishnavrinda Ki Vedanta Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gopramanande Glorious to the assembled devotees Glorious to the assembled devotees Glorious to the assembled devotees Glorious to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Glorious to Srila Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, entitled The Residents of Jambudvip Offer Prayers, and we have text 5 and 6. Huh? Or 6 and 7? No. 5 and 6. Okay, I just read text 5 and then we chant text 6 together, right? Vishvodabhav stana niroda karmate yakur kurtur angi kritam apya parvrita yuktam nachitram tvaikarya karyani sarvatmani vyatrikete cha vastudha. O Lord, although you are completely detached from creation, maintenance and annihilation of this material world, and you're not directly affected by these activities, they are all attributed to you. We do not wonder at this, for your inconceivable energies perfectly qualify you to be the cause of all causes. You're the active principle in everything, although you are separate from everything. Thus, we can realize that everything is happening because of your inconceivable energies. There is no purport, and therefore we go to the next shloka, which is text 6, and this is on the board. Vedhan yugante tamasa trishakritan Vedhan yugante tamasa tiraskritan Rasa talad yo nrituranga vigraha Pratyata devai kavaye pichayate Tasmai namaste vitate hitaya iti. Vidan yugante tamasa tiraskritan Rasa talad yo nrituranga vigraha Pratyatha devai kavaye biyachate Tasmai namaste vitate hitaya iti. Okay. Vidan yugante tamasa tiraskritan Vidan yugante tamasa tiraskritan Rasa taladyo nrituranga vigraha Rasa taladyo nrituranga vigraha Pratyada devai kavaye biyachate Pratyada devai kavaye biyachate Tasmai namaste Tasmai namaste Vedam yugante tamasa trishakritam Rasataladyo nrituranga vigraha Pradyadaya devai pikachate Tasmai namaste vitate. Vaishnavis. Vedhan yugante tamasa tiraskritan Rasa taladyo nrituranga vigraha Pratyadevai kavaye biyachate Tasmai Tamaste Vitaheta. Vedan, the four Vedas, Yuga Ante, at the end of the millennium, Tamasa, by the demon of ignorance personified, Tiraskritan, stolen away, Rasatalat, from the lowest planetary system, Rasatala, Yaha, who, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nrituranga Vigraha, assuming the form of half horse, half man, Pratyadadhe, returned, Vai, indeed, Kavaye, to the Supreme Poet, Lord Brahma, Abhyajate, when he asked for them, Tasmai, unto him, the form of Hayagriva. Namaha, my respectful obeisances. Te, to you, Avitad Ihitaya, whose resolution never fails. Iti, thus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. At the end of the millennium, ignorance personified assumed the form of a demon, stole all the Vedas and took them down to the planet of Rasatala. The Supreme Lord, however, in his form of Hayagriva, retrieved the Vedas and returned them to Lord Brahma when he begged for them. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, whose determination never fails. Short purport. Although Vedic knowledge is imperishable within this material world, it is sometimes manifested and sometimes not. When the people of this world become too absorbed in ignorance, the Vedic knowledge disappears. Lord Hayagriva or Lord Matsya, however, always protects the Vedic knowledge, and in due course of time it is again distributed through the medium of Lord Brahma. Brahma is the trustworthy representative of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, when he again asked for the treasure of Vedic knowledge, the Lord fulfilled his desire. End of purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Ginanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vastyatya Shatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Again, the text, at the end of the millennium, ignorance personified assumed the form of a demon, stole all the Vedas and took them down to the planet of Rasatala. The Supreme Lord, however, in his form of Hayagriva, retrieved the Vedas and returned them to Lord Brahma when he begged for them. I offer my respectful obeisances under the Supreme Lord, whose determination never fails. So we are here now in the chapter 18, which is entitled The Residents of Jambudvip Offer Prayers. It's actually a beautiful chapter. It contains many different prayers from different personalities. And these specific prayers, Shrava, the son of Dharmaraj, offers these prayers, and then many other personalities will offer prayers. In today's lecture, I would like to focus a bit more on the prayer, on the topic of prayers in principle. Maybe we can say a few words about today's shloka, but then I didn't really prepare. But rather, I like to just speak on prayers in principle. But in today's text, we have the description of how the demon, who is ignorance personified, stole the Vedas, and then how the Lord, in his form as Hayagriva, brings the Vedas back and returns them to Lord Brahma. So of course we know Vedic knowledge, as Prabhupada also says, is imperishable, but sometimes it's manifested, sometimes it's not. And of course Vedic knowledge is very essential because it's giving guidance to the conditioned soul, right? Actually, Krishna is very merciful, although there is the material world. And sometimes we doubt how is that the Lord creates material world and then we conditioned souls suffer there. Well, this is just part of reality. And Krishna is very merciful, he wants to help. So he himself manifests, he appears in the material world, he performs his pastimes, and he invites the conditioned souls to return. Then also he sends his pure devotees, like his devotees from the spiritual world, who come and manifest in this world to help us. And then also the Lord manifests the Vedas, which gives us direction, knowledge on how to return back to him. And of course, as we know, ultimately Krishna is also the Vedanta Vid. What is it? Vedanta Krit. Vedanta Vid. Vedanta Vid. Veda Krit. He is the. He is the aim, the one who we should reach through the Vedas. He's also the goal of Vedas, and he's also the compiler of the Vedas in the form of Vyasadeva. And Vedic knowledge is compared to like a manual. If you buy some machine or something, you get a manual how to use it. And then if you come to the material world, how to use it, how to handle, how to deal with material nature, well, there is a manual. That's the Vedic scriptures help us to understand. And Krishna is always very merciful, making sure that the Vedas are available. And we also see now, in the age of Kali, and Kali Yuga is really progressing. If you look at the present state of the world, I mean, it's crazy time, and more crazy time is coming. But then, in the midst of these difficult times, there is the Sankirtan movement. No? There is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came 500 years ago, and there is Srila Prabhupada, who came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's special Senapati, special commander-in-chief, and who gives Vedic knowledge to the mass of people. If you think, like before Srila Prabhupada, Vedic knowledge was quite hidden. Some people in India knew about it, but the global world didn't know much about Vedic knowledge. But then Srila Prabhupada translates all this Vedic knowledge, and then also, turns them into books, prints books, and then his disciples distribute these books all over the world. Now we have millions and millions of books distributed, and many, many people get access to Vedic knowledge. So in that sense, we can also say, the demon of ignorance has stolen Vedas, but now, by the Lord's arrangements, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, and his followers, Vedic knowledge is again available to all the conditioned souls. Of course, marathon is coming up Haribol. So we have to make sure that the demon of ignorance is destroyed by distributing many transcendental literatures, Vedic scriptures that will give people guidance. And it's a fact, I myself, I'm not the big book distributor, but I take so much inspiration just from these chats, like seeing the pictures, the book distributors with that lady, that family. I was thinking, wow, like this person, I would never think that this person would take a book, but she's there very happily smiling. And we know, there's potential that the life of that person will completely change. It might not always happen, sometimes they take the book and then put it somewhere. Of course, we know, then their story goes on. And then later on, maybe their grandchildren take the book and their life changes. But that's the potential of the book. It always has a potential to change someone's life. And that's just amazing. And of course, that's the Vedic knowledge, which is imperishable and which is so important in this material world. So in this way, we should also be part of the mission and try to share this Vedic knowledge so that people can benefit. So now, in regards to this chapter, it's a chapter of prayers. And prayers is a very important aspect of our life. And this is a presentation I gave before. But since I didn't have so much time to prepare, sometimes you just heat up some khichdi. And the advantage in Kali Yuga, people usually don't remember. So you can speak the same thing again. I start with an experience I had. We are very lucky. In Switzerland, we have our Bhakti retreat with His Holiness Sachinanda Maharaj and Krishna Kshetra Maharaj and other devotees. His Holiness Keshav Maharaj. So then once I entered Sachinanda Maharaj's room and he was just playing tilak and he was like singing, quoting some prayers. And I was waiting before he's, this is ready because we had an appointment at Darshan. And he was chanting and he was saying, Krishna Prema, what is life without prayers? And I was thinking, yes, most probably like my life. Life without prayers, yeah. How often do I offer prayers? And Maharaj was like chanting. And he made a point, being a devotee, a practicing devotional life means offering prayers. It means to always take shelter. Basically, that's which discriminates, divide like an ordinary person, an ordinary devotee, and a sadhu, someone who is really deeply absorbed. Because the sadhu is always offering prayer, he's always taking shelter. And Vandanam, of course, is one of the 9 processes of devotional service. And as we know, the 9 processes, there is different personalities who are the perfect example of perfection in that category. So and who is the example for Vandanam? Akrura, yes, Akrura. We know the past time Akrura, he came from Mathura to Vrindavan to bring Krishna Balaram to Mathura for the wrestling game, of course, which was an arrangement by Kamsa to kill Krishna Balaram. His plan didn't really work out. That's a different story. But Akrura took Krishna Balaram. Of course, the gopis were they tried to stop this mission, laying in front of the chariot and crying. And it was a very dramatic scene. But finally, Akrura managed to somehow take the chariot out of Vrindavan. And then on the way, they stopped at the Yamuna, and Krishna Balaram took a bath. And Akrura was just sitting there on the chariot waiting till they are back. And then once they are back, Akrura also got permission to also take a bath. It's hot and to refresh. So he went. And then when he was in the Yamuna, all of a sudden he sees Krishna Balaram again in the water. And he's confused. Well, wait a minute. One moment ago they were just sitting on the chariot waiting for me, and now they're in the water. So he went out again, and he's sitting there on the chariot, sitting Krishna Balaram waiting. Akrura, are you ready? But wait a minute, you were just there in the water. So he went back And again, Krishna and Balaram there in the water, so he's confused. How is it that Krishna and Balaram are simultaneously on the chariot waiting for him, at the same time also in the water? And then all of a sudden they manifest Mahavishnu and Anantashesh, right? Mahavishnu lying on Anantashesh. And then all the devas and Gandharvas and sages offering prayers and the huge Aishwarya darshan. And that's the moment when Akrura starts offering prayers to Krishna Balaram or to Anantashesh Mahavishnu. And he offers beautiful, wonderful prayers. Here we have just one. My dear Lord, fire is your mouth, the earth is your feet, the sun is your eye, the sky is your navel, and the directions are your ears. Space is your head, the demigods are your arms, the oceans and seas are your abdomen, and the winds and airs are your strength and vitality. All the planets and herbs are the hairs on your body, the clouds are the hairs on your head. The mountains are the bones and nails, the days and nights are the blinking of your eyelids, and so on. Basically a description of Virat Rup, seeing the divine presence in the material nature. So with this prayer, Akrura attained perfection. And Srila Prabhupada explains that actually offering prayers is also bhakti, and it's something which we find in all religion, all different religious traditions. Prayer is a very essential part of every religion. And it's also an aspect of bhakti. And even today, people pray, regardless of their religious background. You know, you have these surveys. What do you think? Which country most people pray? 95%. I mean, 95% of every citizen offers daily prayers. It's quite a lot. Almost. Nigeria. Because you have Christians and Muslims. And they both, you know, everyone is praying. It's what? 95% is a lot. Followed by Iran with 87% and Indonesia with 84%. And then India is there with 75% also. 75% of Indians turn to God every single day. I guess 50 years back it was more, but nowadays, the big cities, people get more into the American lifestyle or Western lifestyle. But people still pray. And while many people, of course, if you look what they pray, that's another topic. What do people pray for? I remember when I did Bhakti program, we went to the Bahnhof Church. On the train station, there is a little church, did you know? I mean, church is like a prayer room. It's on the down level, between upper and down level. There's like a little room, and they have a kind of an interreligious room where people from different religions can go there and offer. Sometimes I go there if I don't know, have time before a train or something. It's a good place to chant your rounds if you need. And then there is a book where people write prayers. And sometimes it's interesting to just flip through the pages and see what people pray for. Oh, please, God, help me to pass this exam, you know. Oh, please, God, my grandma is sick. Please make her healthy again. That's usually the kind of prayers, right? Okay, so what is Bhaktisiddhanta saying? The only thing worth praying is that our mind may be more and more attracted towards Lord Sri Krishna. We don't want riches or followers, nor do we desire to be saved from the misery of birth and death. We do not pray either for the cure of disease or for liberation. Rather, we approach the great souls and say, may you bless us that our minds may be directed. Rather, we approach the souls and only ask, may you bless us that our minds may be directed to Krishna. So according to Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, there's only one prayer. And what is that prayer? May our minds be directed to Krishna. We only want to be absorbed in Krishna. We want to serve Krishna. We want to please Krishna. We want to engage in Krishna service and increase our relationship to Krishna. Of course, we can say akama sarva kama moksha kama udhariti divrena bhakti yogena. So basically, whatever desire or whatever motivation we have, whether we have many desires or no desires or desire for liberation, we should approach Krishna. So in that sense, we can say, yes, of course, sometimes we also have troubles. And then it's good to, reveal our hearts to the Lord, and then we go in front of the deities, and we may also ask the Lord for help. That's okay, because we want to develop a loving relationship. But ultimately, we should always know pure devotional service means we only ask for pure devotion and to serve Him. That's just, we should always keep that in mind as the ultimate goal. So, and in our lives, we have different kind of prayers. We have the standard prayers that we offer in the morning programs. Of standard prayers. But then, of course, we have personal prayers. Hopefully, we have personal prayers. And it's interesting, what is better? What is better, personal prayer or standard prayers? I mean, they're both important. The standard prayers are powerful because they have been written by the great acharyas, and they are full of this spirit, the proper mood. And by just repeating these prayers, we can enter into that mood. Therefore, these prayers are very powerful. But there is a danger that it can become mechanical if you just repeat the prayers, and it can also become mechanical, and then what's the use if you're not there? So that's why the challenge is, and that's especially for us, for those who live in the temple, it's important to always remember what is the meaning of the prayer I sing, and then try to absorb in that meaning. And in this way we keep our practice fresh. And if we forget, then it becomes mechanical. And of course, the advantage of the personal prayer is it's personal. We directly go in front of the Lord, and we reveal our heart, and maybe we also express our gratitude. But the disadvantage, usually we don't have so much to say. And you can make the experiment when you go in front of the deities and offer prayers. How long can you offer prayers? You say this, you say that. Because usually our heart is quite empty, and there's not so much emotion, not so much love for Krishna. So, after 2-3 minutes we have said what we have to say, and then that's it. So, that's why it's good to have the prayers of the acharyas. They help us to get into the mood. But then, of course, personal prayer is also very nice and important. So how to improve the quality of our prayers? It's important to invest our feelings, to be a bit introspective, and invest our feelings in these prayers. And one thing that also helps is to understand the meaning of prayers. And there is this story which I have told many times, the Babaji at Radhakund. There was a Babaji at Radhakund. He was singing the whole day, like many Babajis do. Like if you go to Radhakund, there's always some Radhe Radhe, some Hare Krishna going on. But he was not a very good singer. Just like in Asterix and Obelix, you have this, what is his name? Trubadix. Trubadix, he plays his instrument, and everyone is like, oh my God, when he. So he was like that, but at Radhakund. So one day Narada Muni passes by, and he says, "Oh, Narada Muni, you're the transcendental spaceman, as Prabhupada would say. You're able to travel everywhere. So I'm sure you're soon going to Vaikuntha." Yes, I'm just on the way to Vaikuntha. Or to Goloka Vrindavan. Can you please ask Vishnu or Krishna? Can you ask Krishna how does he like my prayers, my singing? Sure, I can do that, no problem. So he goes there, and then sometime later he again passes by. Oh, Narada Muni, so have you been? So what did Krishna say? Did he like my prayer? Narada Muni says, well, to be very honest, he said that your singing is quite out of the tune. It's not so nice singing. And what did he do? He was jumping up, Haribol, Haribol. He was dancing in ecstasy. And Narada Muni, wait a minute, I think you didn't understood what I said. Krishna didn't like your singing. Krishna hears my prayer. He hears my prayers. No. So the fact he realized that actually Krishna hears what I'm actually praying, that fact made him completely ecstatic. No. And this is a nice realization, you know. Do we have that realization? No? That whenever I offer some prayers, actually Krishna hears that prayers. It's not, sometimes we pray and, oh, is anything happening? Is there anyone hearing me? Like, but that realization, I understand that Krishna hears my prayers. And that's actually a very deep realization. And if we understand that Krishna hears my prayers, then we can offer more heartfelt prayers. We can offer prayers from the heart. And then our prayer practice becomes hopefully a bit more deep, right? And Bhaktivedanta Goswami in his recent book, Healing Prayers, which is reflections on Queen Kunti's prayers, he makes a point that there is 3 types of prayers. I will just read partially from it and maybe comment. Another reason for our difficulties in praying is that we often do not understand our personal level of spiritual advancement and therefore do not know which feelings should imbue our prayers. Our spiritual journey can be divided into 3 stages. What are the 3 stages of our spiritual journey? It's interesting how he describes it. He says, initially from Shraddha to Anartha Nivritti, then intermediate phase up to Ruchi, and finally attainment of Bhava. And then, of course, up to Prema. So first we struggle from Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana, Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. That's what we're usually, where most of us are in. That's the stage where we struggle. That's the first stage, and then Nishta, we become fixed. We become very serious, very focused, and we have a strong desire and a strong attachment or focus on devotional service. That's the second intermediate stage. And then when we become more attached towards Krishna, and then Bhava, then that's the higher level. So corresponding to these levels, these 3 levels of development of 3 types of prayers, and Srila Rupa Goswami describes them in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So 3 types of prayer. The first prayer is Sam Prarartha Natmika. So the Sanskrit word Sam Prararthana consists of the prefix Sam, Samyak, which means complete, entirely. And the word Prarthana, of course, means prayers. So it means a sincere prayer for complete surrender and for overcoming the abyss that separates us from God. So it's a complete prayer, basically. Or it's a prayer for completeness, or for being again connected with the Lord, being complete in a relation with the Lord. It is where true bhakti begins, because it is a prayer from a heart that has realized its indifference and disconnection from God. This painful truth is our starting point. And I think that's a very interesting point. So that prayer starts where we understand that we don't have love, that we don't have a connection to Krishna. No, we are lost. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhira Shishigone Ki Jai. So I like these prayers from this Crying for Krishna booklet. There is one prayer. I'm lost in a land where everyone cries. And I throw away the key. I was so stupid. I threw away the key to the spiritual world, and now I'm lost in this material world where everyone cries. So that's kind of the realization. somehow I ended up in this material world. I have no connection. I have no relationship to God. I'm alone, and my connection to God is cut off. So, in essence, we don't care about God. Strong statement. But that's basically our condition. We don't care about God much. We are caring about whom? Us. And it's not so difficult to realize. You just observe your own mind. What is the thoughts and what's going on? It's mainly about us. It's not so much about Krishna. We need him only to serve our interest. We constantly beg him for something. Without realizing it, we put what we want to obtain from God above God himself. As did Duryodhana, who preferred to have Krishna's army rather than Krishna by his side. We know that story. From the Mahabharata, Krishna was taking a nap in his bed, and Arjuna came there, and Duryodhana came, both. And they knew it was kind of preparing for the battle, and both of them wanted to get something from Krishna. And how was it? Duryodhana was first, I think, and he sat in front of the. Message
is head and Arjuna feet, and when Krishna
Right. So Arjuna was at the feet, and Duryodhana was at the head, and of course Duryodhana thought he's at the better position because close at the head. But then when Krishna saw Arjuna, nevertheless. He asked Arjuna, and Arjuna could choose first, and then Arjuna said, I want you. And Duryodhana was very happy, like such a fool. There is one person, and there is thousands of soldiers, and this fool asks for only one person. And although I was second, I still get what I want. I get the army. So, but that's the mentality. You want to get something from God. You don't want to God himself. So that's basically what is the materialistic mindset, that we always want something from God. We do not need him on his own. A poet once expressed this most honestly. What kind of God is he when he does not help? Even on the path of bhakti, many continue to expect something from God, regularly billing him for their so-called service. Krishna, I have been serving for so many years. Why I'm not getting this? Why I'm not getting that? I have served you. So we kind of demand things to happen because, after all, we served. Our ambivalence towards God is not always clear to us. Only through the association with the Vaishnavas do we come to realize that our heart is dead and that we have nothing to say to Krishna. That's what I said before. Like, go in front of the Lord. How much can we pray? Thus we can begin to pray that he bestows upon us attachment to himself. Actual spiritual life begins with the awareness of our heart's duplicity, our disunion from God. Within us, two opposing forces tear us apart. Our soul wants to get closer to God. It seeks him and hankers for him, but its voice falls weak to the imperious demands of the flesh for material pleasure. Sounds familiar? There is part of in us, Krishna, I really want you, that's an honest desire for Krishna, but then the mind and the senses and the material desires pull us in a different direction. And as is described in the Puranas, for a person absorbed in material attachment, it is very difficult to absorb the minds in Krishna or in Vishnu. Just like a person who wants to get an object in the east runs into the west. If you run direction of west, but actually you want something in the east, how can you get it? You go in the wrong direction. So if you want Krishna, but you still hunger for material enjoyment, how can you get Krishna? You're just going in the wrong direction. It's not possible. But then that's the dilemma, that there is this inner battle, this inner struggle. We want Krishna, but we also want so many other things. And that's the constant struggle. And therefore, it's not surprising that Srila Rupa Goswami illustrates that Samprararthamika prayer with the following verse from the Padma Purana. It's a very famous one. I'm sure you know it, but this is kind of that defines the first type of prayer. Yuvatinam yuta yuni yunam cha yuvato yata mano birmate bhatvan mano me ramatam tvai. O my Lord, may my mind always find pleasure in you, just as the mind of a maiden finds pleasure in the thoughts of a youth, and the mind of a youth finds pleasure in the thought of a maiden. Like a young boy likes a young girl likes a young boy, and the mind is very naturally attracted, isn't it? Do we have some personal experience? Most probably yes, right? The mind naturally finds it. There's no special endeavor required. It is a natural attraction. It just goes there. So the prayer is, please let my mind be naturally attracted towards you, just like the young boy is attracted to the young girl. It's natural and it's very forceful. It's very strong also. It's not just a little attraction. It's a very strong attraction. So, but because at the moment I'm distant from God, I'm not interested in God, that's the prayer. No, I want to have that intensity. Each of us knows how material attachment can hold us hostage. Theoretically, we understand that we should be attached to Krishna, but the reality of our heart is different. And the heart cannot be commanded. It wants what it wants. You may study so many scriptures and you know, okay, pure devotional service, it's only this, Anyabilasita, shunyam, zero. Nothing is there. So we know theoretically, but then the heart wants what it wants. At the beginning, our attempts to get closer to God are dictated not by the heart, but by the intellect. When we become aware of our duality, that split between mind and heart, we feel acute pain. This pain should pour out in the form of prayers for the reinstatement of our lost integrity and restoration of our wholeness. We should wish and petition to feel attraction for God as spontaneously and natural as we feel attraction for material pleasure. So that's the first kind of prayer. Sam prarthanatmika. Sam means whole, and then prayer. So that prayer for wholeness, connection. Then the second type of prayer, it's dhainya bodhika. And dhainya comes from dina, which means beggarly, stupid, or fallen. Bodhika means acknowledgement, mostly from buddhi, intelligence, understanding. Understanding one's fallen condition. And then if one understands one's fallen position, then one can offer prayer in a humility. And it's interesting, we may surprise, well, isn't that the first stage? But then Maharaj explains, well, actually, in the beginning, to actually feel humble, it requires some spiritual advancement. Because in the beginning, we are not actually able to really feel humility and be puffed up, and we don't see how fallen we are. But the more we advance, the more we actually realize how fallen we really are. And then sincere prayers can come. And that's why Dhainya Bodhika is the second type of prayer, which is more relevant when the heart is already a bit purified, Anartha-nivrita and Nishta. Then true humility can awaken. At the start of our journey, we are unable to soberly assess the degree of our fallen state. Thank God. In a way, thank God in a way that if we would realize how fallen we are in the beginning, maybe we would become so depressed, we would not take to Krishna consciousness at all. So that's why thank God. Otherwise, we would be dejected if we were able to see it. For a time, Krishna does not reveal reality to us. Looking into the distorted, constant flattering mirror of our minds, we see a Vaishnava with tilak on the forehead and admire ourselves. More a very poetic expression. Om Gijavai Namaha. Yes, I look quite nice as a Vaishnava. So, we take that attitude. Then later on we realize how much we are not yet a Vaishnava, and then true humility comes. Broadly speaking, the second stage of our devotional path begins with Nishtha, when a person gains stability and is truly eager to serve God. Nothing material makes any sense to such a person, for they have re-established their spiritual integrity. The heart no longer oscillates between God and the world of matter. At the same time, the devotee still, of course, understands there is a way to go. So a possible prayer could be, and then, my dear Lord, I have wasted so much time in vain. I have done so many stupid things, even while engaged in devotional service. I have said so many ridiculous things and insulted, offended so many people, so that humility awakens. And then one offers Dhanya Bodhika. And then what is the third type of prayer? Lala Samai. Right? That's the third kind of prayer, and that's when one attains Ashakti, like very strong attachment toward Krishna or Baba. Then the devotee is imbued with lalasa, an insatiable desire to serve Krishna in a particular way. Prayer suffused with such a desire is called lalasa mai. So that means one develops a very specific desire to serve. In the beginning we want to serve. Please Krishna, accept me. Please Krishna, let me engage in your service. So any service we are offered, we are happy. We want to do some service, right? But then on this level, of course, that's the service not anymore just externally in the sadhaka deha, but this is also service in the siddha deha, where we actually realize our original spiritual identity, and where we actually internally meditate and want to serve in a particular spirit. And then basically it means we enter Raganuga Bhakti and we start to perform or meditate about our eternal service. So these are three kind of prayers according to level of consciousness. I found this quite interesting. And yes, these are some thoughts on offering prayers. The importance of prayers and how we should reflect that actually Krishna hears our prayers. Krishna is very eager to hear our prayers, and that we try to, invest our heart in the prayers that we offer, and beginning with praying to be again reconnected with Him. And these prayers we have these prayers now here in the Bhagavatam. The residents of Jambudvip offering prayers. So hopefully we get some inspiration from these prayers. Hare Krishna. We have 2 minutes left. Any comments, questions? Yes.
Can you remind please how to offer our prayers in proper way? I remember you told firstly should glorify Lord, and then it's some step I didn't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mention so much here, but yeah, in principle we let's see that we get this together. It's kind of I think we start with glorification, glorifying the Lord. We express our glorification of the Lord and appreciation, like gratefulness, and then some expression of also humility, our fallen state. And only then we ask something. We're not just going there and please give him pure devotional service. Like, who are you? Are you the Supreme Lord? No, we offer some prayers glorifying the Lord. And then we also acknowledge that, I'm actually not qualified to even talk to you and offering prayers. But nevertheless, please. So yeah, there might be more stages, but these are some. Glorification, humility, and then our personal prayer. And of course the beauty is the chanting of holy name is also prayer. Of course it's mantra, meditation, we are fixing our mind on the sound vibration. But then ideally, we also invest our heart, and it's a prayer. As we know, Prabhupada taught us. The short version is basically just please accept me. and then engage me in service, but basically just please accept me, please accept me. That's a nice meditation. Krishna, please accept me. Alright, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpa Rupascha, Rupa Singha Vicha, Paditanam Padibhya Vaishnava. Ich bin dran, ich habe eins von den Büchern, also parallel. Aber ist nice. Hare Krishna.